Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about Ruric Thar. Now, I know there's several ways to build Ruric Thar here, but what I opted to do was try to maximize his ability. Uh, Whenever anybody plays a non-creature spell, they just take 6. Yeah, he has to attack, but that's generally not a problem for 6/6 Vigilance Reach guy. So I like the fact that he has reach and vigilance. Lets you swing and lets you block with him. Anyway, what I did with this one, this is probably going to be a pretty quick one today because the actual creatures that you use for the deck are there's any red-green colorless creature that has ever been. But anyway, I opted around Primal Surge mainly because I love some Primal Surge. Now, I don't have a way to tutor this card out. If it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't happen, you've still got more creatures than anybody else. Because I only run 2 cards in the entire deck that are not creatures. I run these 2 here. Fervor is more or less a second copy of Urabrask. That's it. Because I want that haste. Because the idea here is when you cast Primal Surge, you put your entire library into play. Yeah, Ruric Thar is actually going to take 6, but we're maximizing the... Ruric Thar is a real thorn in your opponent's side, and by these being the only 2, there's a good chance you're not going to be taking a whole lot of Ruric Thar damage. Nowhere near as much as your opponents will. Because they'll still cast their Brainstorms and their Tops and whatever. But anyway, the idea is to Primal Surge your deck into play and Alpha Swing for the win. Now, obviously you're going to include creatures in there that destroy enchantments because propaganda is a thing. This is all... You build it, or I built it a lot like a normal deck, except in place of Soul Ring or Thran Dynamo, I'm using creatures. Yeah, I know that's kind of obvious, but it's still... This is not a lot different than a Worn Power Stone. It just dies to creature removal. A lot of it is... It's all the mana elves, by the way. This guy fits perfect because every time you tap him, each opponent takes a point, which seems good. Obviously, Vorn collects. But all of these are just mana ramp. Elves, of course, the Lumberjack. The Lumberjack is so good. You can actually fast forward out your Ruric Thar pretty quick that way. And the actual creatures, as I said, they are obviously I have an Eldrazi pack because the deck does generate a ton of mana, and the Eldrazi pack changes from time to time. What I want to talk about the most is Heartwood Storyteller. This guy is the absolute all-star. It works great with your deck. 3 mana, 2/3. And whenever anybody plays a non-creature spell, each of that player's opponents draws a card. Now, this guy does not draw a lot of hate because he draws a lot of people cards. Granted, he's going to draw you more than anybody else. But Ruric Thar, Heartwood Storyteller, match made in heaven, I'm telling you, because of the way you built your deck with all creatures, is not going to allow your opponents to draw that many cards. They didn't do that. It's... Heartwood Storyteller, you'd be surprised on how many cards this can actually net you. That's the card drawing. Of course, we have the green Doomblade, which I firmly believe that's exactly what this is. People play non-basic lands. And this totals all of them, all your opponents. So that's amazing in EDH. Of course, we've got our removal. Uh, this is pretty much a all-star cast of the red-green creatures. Hell Rider, because you're going to be swinging for the fences. Um, this deck, the games do go kind of quick. I mean, we got the big boys in there. The Wormdrazi is what I call him. We got more removal. But that's but these three creatures I really want to cover here. These two are, power and toughness equal to the number of dudes you control. This one flies. That one does not. Really, really big guys. And Martin Stromgold. Now, Martin Stromgold, I don't know if my new fancy camera can actually zoom up on that text. If he attacks, all other attacking creatures get +X till end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. And then it actually gives you a... and when he blocks, it's the same thing true for blocking creatures. But this guy is underappreciated. I think he's Ice Age only. He's the only time they printed him. He's a decent legend in and of himself, but there are other good ones. Of course, we got our standard complement of non-basic lands. But it's really, really fun. I love the interaction of the Primal Surge. I know one of my boys got really, really addicted to this deck because the first time he ever picked it up and played it, he actually had the Primal Surge. And I think somebody was playing with a Mana Flare type ability, so he laid his 5th land and cast Primal Surge. Now, he hadn't looked through the deck or anything before he did it. He just thought, 10 mana spell, hey, I may get a couple cards out of it. He had no idea that he had just won. Nobody could counter it. The blue player was tapped out, and he just ran the table with it. And he killed all 4 of us in one combat step. It can happen. Now, granted, the way I have built this deck, it's all in on this one. But you also, by the time that this happens, a lot of times your opponents have taken a ton of damage with Ruric Thar. So it's not like you've got to deal 40 times however many players there are. There's a lot of damage that's going to be dealt before. I mean, if you get lucky with your mana doubling, hey, awesome. But this guy, these 2 cards, that's where I went with Ruric Thar. That's what I got for today. I think tomorrow, because tomorrow is Christmas Day, what I think I'll do is I'll probably do Tribal Elves. It's as close as I can come. We don't have really a Santa card or anything, but we'll talk about some elves tomorrow. But I appreciate y'all for watching. Hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. And let me know what you think in the comments below. We appreciate it. And as always, it is time to shuffle and cut.